everyone, welcome back to Messy Vegan Baker. I'm Christina, and today, this episode, we are going to be making something that I haven't really seen a lot of recipes for. I even looked it up because I was curious, but they're mostly like paleo and keto, I don't know how to pronounce it, but which, I mean, it makes it makes sense. Why would you make this when you can just go buy it at the store and it's delicious and actually pretty cheap? And a lot of them are vegan. So I was looking through my favorite cookbook, How to Bake Everything, and they have this whole section on it. So I think this is going to be episode 1 of many of this series. Now, hopefully I have grabbed your attention and you're like, what are you making? And I shall tell you, today we are going to be making crackers! Except not just any crackers, because right now, at the moment, in my house, I just happen to have some vegan cheddar shreds, which are really good, by the way. I have the Vial Life, and then I also have the 365 one, which are also really good and cheaper. So just if you're looking for good shredded cheddar cheeses, these are both. Viola and the 365 are really good. I personally found them at Whole Foods, so if you're looking for suggestions, you're welcome. Back to crackers. That's what we were talking about. So I decided, since I have cheese, I'm going to make a cheese cracker, kind of like Ritz, kind of like Goldfish. In the recipe, it's called the Goldfish crackers, but then I looked it up, and Goldfish actually have yeast in them, which makes them puff, and this recipe doesn't. So I guess it's going to be more like Ritz crackers. And I think they have yeast in them too. No, I think you just fold them like pastry, and that's what gives them the layers. But either way, we're going to make crackers because it's not very many ingredients. You probably have all of these in your house right now, and why not make them? Because it sounded really exciting. It's like a whole new world. And there's graham crackers you can make, and like Ritz crackers, and it's just exciting. Without further ado, let's get baking. So, as I've said before, this doesn't have very many ingredients, and it's pretty simple and straightforward. If you have a food processor, use it. If you don't, you can do this kind of like you do with normal pastry, either using like knives or the pastry thing, and just mix it that way. So, basically what we're gonna do, I have 2 tablespoons of the vegan country crock avocado butter or whatever in here already. You can use any kind of neutral oil you want, or any other kind of vegan butter. So it's your choice, which is kind of nice. And then we are going to take a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I'm just gonna eyeball. Okay, and then we're going to use a teaspoon of onion powder. And then we're gonna do 1/2 cup of vegan cheese, and then 1 cup of flour. That's it. Those are the ingredients. Well, plus water. We're just gonna pulse this, or if you don't have a food processor, just grind it. I don't know, mix it until it's kind of like a pastry dough. Cool. So that looks nice and chopped up. You can tell that it's all homogeneous, I guess, I don't know, evenly dispersed. And then we're gonna take a 1/4 cup of water and add it in. Now, it didn't say if it had to be a temperature, so mine is just room temp. So as you can tell, it's starting to get wet and form more of the dough shape. Probably because I'm high altitude and like super dry. It's gonna take me a little bit more water. So you're gonna add water and keep pulsing this or mixing it, however you're making your dough, until it kind of holds together, but it's not sticky. Cool. I'm gonna call that good, and then put it in some cling wrap, and then we're gonna let it sit on here, out here for like 15 minutes, just to kind of help hydrate the dough and get it elasticy kind of. Elasticity? I don't know. And then you definitely wanna knead it together a little bit just to make sure, it's more of a dough. You will have to work your dough a little bit, but you also don't want to overwork it, because then you will get a dense, more leathery kind of cracker. So as you can see, the dough is a lot smoother. It's definitely coming together. So I'm going to leave it I'm gonna wrap it up and just leave it on the counter for 15 minutes just to let it do its thing. Oh, it's so cute. It's like a little baby. Okay, I will see you in 15 minutes. My dough has been resting and I put the oven to 400. It's preheating right now. And if you have a baking stone, put that in the oven in the middle rack, and then turn the oven on so that way it can get hot. And I guess it kind of helps to cook the crackers a lot faster and pull that moisture out. If you don't have one, don't panic, it's okay. Just use any kind of typical baking sheet. You're going to take this beautiful dough and I'm gonna cut it in half. Now, the hardest part about making crackers is, well, you have to roll it out thin enough, apparently less than 1/8 of an inch. What's 1/8 of an inch? And baking it because you want it to be dry and crispy and crunchy, but not burned. So you want to lightly flour this so nothing sticks, but you also don't want so much flour that it dries the cracker out. I'm gonna make mine about 12 by 12 each square if I can. It doesn't look like a lot of dough, but I also know you need it to be 1/8 of an inch. It can grow a good chunk, so. If you do have the baking stone, you can put it on, or you can roll your dough out on parchment paper like I'm doing, and then you can just take the parchment paper and literally just plop it onto the baking stone. And then every so often, you're gonna wanna flip your dough. And the fun thing about making these crackers is you can cut them whatever shape you want. I think we're good. You wanna score them before you put them in the oven if you want a specific shape. So, I think I'm gonna do a few that are wiggly lines just because I can, and then a few that are straight and nice, although I can't really do straight lines. You don't have to cut it all the way through. If you do, it's fine, but you don't have to. You can use whatever you want, like a knife, a pizza cutter, that works. And it's time for my second one. Oh, I forgot to score those. It's not too late. If you don't want uneven crackers, don't forget to poke holes throughout it. You can make it look festive and cute too if you are worried about that. So I'm gonna take this parchment paper and just slide it onto the baking stone. And then it's about 10 minutes. If you do notice that the edges are baking faster than the middle, you can take this out, cut off the already baked parts, and then put the rest of it back in. If you overbake them, you can't, unbake them, but if you take them out and realize, oh, they're not quite as crisp, you can always put them back in. So, err on the side of caution on this one. I baked these for about 10 minutes and then they still weren't quite crunchy or crispy. And so one thing you do if it's not quite crunchy but it's baked, like you have the nice golden edges, you turn the temperature down to 200 and then you crack open the oven. Mine kind of stays open, but I didn't want it to be too cracked open, so I just put a wooden spoon handle in there to kind of keep it open. That's something to do because then it acts more of as a dehydrator instead of an oven. Also, one thing that I noticed is make sure that you really jam the fork in and get actual holes, because in certain places where I gently poked, there's still bubbles and stuff, which I'm not mad at, but if you don't want them and you want it to be as flat as possible, poke the holes all the way through. Another thing I forgot to tell you guys, if you have a pasta maker, I think we do, but I forgot about this until it was too late, use that instead, because that's the best way to slowly get it evenly thin and paper thin. I haven't broken these apart yet because I'm nervous, but they did crunch up pretty nicely. Oh, look at that. That's really good. I think I would personally add a little more salt and maybe paprika or something, or more cheese. I don't know if the cheese was supposed to melt throughout the whole thing, but, and this is also vegan cheese, so maybe it has it reacts differently than other cheeses, but there's still little bits of cheese. It never really melted and integrated with the rest of the dough, but it's not a problem because it's so tiny and evenly dispersed that you get the same flavor in every bite. I'd say episode 1 of crackers is a success, so yes. I highly recommend making these because they're really good. And you can be super impressive with your friends and have like a wine and cheese board and be like, guess what? I made these crackers. And they'll be like, what? That's crazy. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and get excited when you guys watch my videos. Comment down below if there's any type of cracker you want me to make. Hopefully you guys learned something and or were entertained, because I definitely learned a lot and I'm very excited to eat the rest of these. I feel like I didn't score them necessarily enough, but I don't care. I'd eat the whole thing by itself, so it's all good. So I will have the recipe down below. I do believe that is everything. So stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.